Xiaomi recently launched the Redmi 6 in the country alongside the Redmi 6A and the Redmi 6 Pro. Like the name suggests, it is the successor of the Redmi 5, which has been fairly popular for offering good hardware at affordable prices. The Redmi 6 has a new processor, good specifications on paper, and is positioned between the 6A and the 6 Pro. Now we have seen phones with really good hardware, but these are concentrated around the 10,000 rupee mark. But the 6 is priced at 7,999 rupees. But is it the best smartphone you can get for this price? We put it to the test. The Redmi 6 is primarily made out of plastic and has a good build quality. It has a 5.45-inch display with an 18:9 aspect ratio, making the display tall and narrow. It sports HD+ resolution and has decent viewing angles. While the display is legible under direct sunlight, we would have preferred slightly higher brightness levels for a comfortable viewing experience. The back on the Redmi 6 is curved at the sides, which makes it comfortable to hold. The phone has two trays. One has the primary SIM and a dedicated microSD card slot, while the other has the SIM 2 slot, both of which support 4G as well as VoLTE. You can switch a toggle in the settings app that lets the second SIM access the 4G network when the primary one is on a call. When it comes to the internals on the Redmi 6, Xiaomi has taken a slightly different approach. The Redmi 6 sports an octa-core MediaTek Helio P22 processor based on a 12nm process. The phone comes in two variants, 3GB of RAM with 32GB of storage and 3GB of RAM with 64GB of storage. You can expand storage as the phone accepts cards up to 256GB. Software is pretty much predictable on the Redmi 6. It runs MIUI 9.6 on top of Android 8.1 Oreo. When we unboxed the smartphone, it was running on the June security patch but soon received the July and August security patches. If you have used MIUI and like the user interface, you'll feel at home while using the smartphone. There are useful additions like dual apps that lets you run two instances of supported apps like WhatsApp and Facebook, among others. Second Space lets you keep files and messages among other stuff locked down using a different passcode. It also has an inbuilt app lock that lets you access locked down apps using your fingerprint. We found some of Xiaomi's pre-installed apps to be spammy, which kept popping annoying notifications. While you can go ahead and uninstall most of the bloatware, some can only be disabled. Along with the fingerprint scanner, the Redmi 6 also gets a face unlock feature, which was quick to unlock in most lighting conditions. There is no IR blaster, which is commonly found on Xiaomi smartphones. The Helio P22 powering the Redmi 6 managed to surprise us with its performance. We could go through the menus and scroll through the installed apps without any noticeable lag or stutter. But like most low-end processors, it takes some time to load heavy apps. We also saw instances where it had to reload the app since it was no longer in memory. We ran a couple of benchmarks to gauge the performance of the Redmi 6 and the results showed that the device is faster than its predecessor, the Redmi 5, in almost every test. The Redmi 6 was capable of playing PUBG but switched to the lowest setting by default. The game was playable, but we did notice input lag while playing it. The phone packs a 3000 mAh non-removable battery, and in our HD video loop test, it managed to go on for 14 hours and 34 minutes. We got the phone off the charger at 9 AM and managed to end a day of heavy use at 10 PM with an impressive 27% still left. Xiaomi ships a 5-watt charger in the box, which charges the phone to 18% in 30 minutes and 35% in an hour. The dual camera setup at the back consists of a 12 megapixel primary camera and a 5 megapixel depth sensor. Just like in other Xiaomi smartphones, the camera app has short video, portrait, square, panorama, and a manual mode apart from the usual photo and video modes. In manual mode, it gives you control over white balance, focus, shutter speed, and ISO. It also has quick toggles for HDR, filters, and a few shooting modes to choose from. Photos clicked from the Redmi 6 were good in favorable light, but we saw a drop in quality in low light. In daylight, the Redmi 6 manages to get the metering right and is quick to enable HDR automatically when shooting in bright environments. The phone manages to capture a decent amount of detail. When clicking macros, the phone struggles to focus on tiny objects and we couldn't get a sharp image of tiny flowers. When clicking portraits, it puts the secondary 5 megapixel sensor to use and delivers a good output. It manages good edge detection and it could detect the gap between the person's arm and the body and blur it properly. Camera performance went down a notch when clicking photos in low light. It failed to capture good details and the aggressive noise reduction resulted in a watercolor effect. Selfies clicked from the 5 megapixel front camera were good when shot outdoors but appeared dull when shot indoors. Video recording maxes out at 1080p for both the front and the rear cameras. There is stabilization available, but we observed a jelly effect in the output. The Redmi 6 is the recent budget offering from Xiaomi with prices starting at 7,999 rupees. It has decent hardware for the price and it offers better performance than the smartphone it replaces. The base variant with 3GB of RAM and 32GB of storage offers better value and does not have a lot of competition to deal with. But if you are looking at the higher variant of the Redmi 6, which is priced at 9,499 rupees, you may want to take a look at the Asus Zenfone Max Pro M1 or the Realme One that offers much better performance for a slightly higher price. So that was our review of the Redmi 6. What do you guys think about it? Let us know in the comment section below. And as always, for all things tech, stay tuned to gadgets360.com.